Right now, somewhere in your house, in a box, under the bed or a bin, up in the attic, there might be a comic book sitting in the dark that is worth more money than most people make in a month. And I do not mean some rare museum piece that changed hands at auction for millions. I mean the kind of book you actually had, or your parents had, or that your uncle kept in a shoebox and never threw away. The kind that got read, got folded, maybe got a little bent at the corner. Today, we are going through 10 of them, from least to most valuable. And for every single one, I am going to give you something specific to look for so you can check your own copies tonight. Stay with me through number 1, because that is the one almost every household in this country had at some point, and almost nobody knows what it can actually be worth. Number 10, Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 129, from February of 1973. This is the first appearance of the Punisher, and it is one of those books that sat in collections for decades before people started paying real attention to it. The thing is, a lot of people have this one. It was a popular run, it sold well, and kids who were reading Marvel in the early 70s often picked it up without thinking anything of it. What separates a copy worth keeping from a copy worth selling is condition and, specifically, the spine. Here is what you do. Lay the book flat under a good light and look at the spine straight on. A book with a tight, unbroken spine and no color cracking along the fold can fetch anywhere from $150 to $400 in a solid mid-grade. A copy that has been read hard and bent back will be worth considerably less, but it is still worth knowing you have it. The cover itself has a very clean design, so any fading or foxing on that yellow background will knock value down fast. If you have got one of these tucked away from your own reading years, it is absolutely worth pulling out and taking a second look. If you thought that one was surprising, wait for this. Number 9, House of Secrets, number 92, from July of 1971, published by DC Comics. This is the first appearance of Swamp Thing, and it is a book that sits in a strange middle zone where a lot of collectors overlook it because horror comics from the early 70s did not always have the same fan base as superhero titles. That is exactly why it flies under the radar in so many attics. A reading copy in decent shape can run around $250. A well-preserved example, with the cover colors still vivid and the centerfold intact, can push past $1,000. Here is your physical check. Open the book to the exact center and look at the staples. Original staples on a DC book from this era should be a very dark, almost charcoal-toned metal, not bright silver. Replacement staples are a red flag for restoration, and restoration drops value significantly. If yours have that original dull finish and the pages around them are not showing any rust staining or water damage, you may be in very good shape. Number 8, Incredible Hulk, issue number 1, from May of 1962. Now, before I say the numbers here, I want to be honest with you about something. Finding this one in any grade that is not completely destroyed is genuinely uncommon. Most copies people think they have from this era turn out to be reprints or later printings. So here is exactly what to look for to confirm you have an original. The cover price must read 12 cents. The spine color on a first print is a very specific charcoal gray, not the brighter tones you see on later editions. And the interior pages should be off-white to cream, with a slight brittleness to the touch, the natural aging of newsprint from that period. A well-read, low-grade copy of the true first print is worth around $1,000. A mid-grade copy in noticeably better condition can reach $4,000 or $5,000. If you genuinely think you have one, please do not try to clean it, flatten it, or press it yourself. At this level, it is worth having it looked at by a professional before you do anything with it. Ever wonder why some of these look almost identical, but one is worth 10 times more? Number 7 is a perfect example. Fantastic Four, issue number 48, from March of 1966. This is the first appearance of both the Silver Surfer and Galactus, and it is part of what collectors call the Galactus trilogy. The issue itself was not hard to find when it came out. It sat on newsstands, got read, got passed around. But here is the detail that makes a real difference in value. Look at the top right corner of the cover. There should be a small Marvel Comics Group logo in a distinct rounded shape, not a square, and the corner box should show the Fantastic Four logo without any reprint markings anywhere on the cover. A clean mid-grade copy is worth somewhere between $300 and $700. What you are checking at home is the brittleness test. Very gently flex one page near the center of the book. Original newsprint from this era has a specific, papery give to it. If the page feels unnaturally stiff or crackles at the fold, it may have been pressed or treated, which affects how you would want to proceed if you were thinking of selling. Number 6. Batman, issue number 232 from June of 1971. This is the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul, and it is one that fans of the character picked up sharply after the character appeared in major films, which means values have climbed and held. The cover is one of the most recognizable of the early 1970s Batman run, with a clean, high-contrast image that tends to show age right away on the white portions. Here is your check. Hold the cover up toward a window and look at the white areas. Genuine aged newsprint will show a faint, even yellowing throughout. If you see bright white that seems inconsistent with the surrounding paper, or if areas look blotchy rather than evenly aged, that can suggest paper replacement or cover cleaning, both of which are disclosed in professional grading but will affect value. A honest reading copy is worth around $150 to $250. A sharp, well-preserved copy can climb past $600. And if you have been enjoying this, go ahead and hit the like button. It genuinely helps, and we are only getting to the good ones from here. Number 5. X-Men issue number 1 from September of 1963. This is one of the most famous first issues in the entire Marvel catalog, and I am going to be straight with you about how often genuine copies turn up in attics. The answer is not often, but it does happen, because these were sold on newsstands in the early 1960s, and a lot of families simply kept them in boxes without knowing what they had. The identifying detail you need is the 12-cent cover price on the top right. That is your first filter. Then look at the interior. The original print has no bullpen bulletins page and no letters column in the back matter, because those were not yet a regular feature this early in the run. If your copy has both of those and a 12-cent price, look very carefully because something does not add up. A heavily read, low-grade authentic copy is worth around $600 to $1,000. A mid-grade copy can reach several thousand. A professionally graded high-grade example is in an entirely different financial conversation. At this level, verification is not optional before you make any decision about it. Number 4. Tales of Suspense issue number 39 from March of 1963. This is the first appearance of Iron Man, and it is a book that gets found more often than some of the earlier Marvel first appearances simply because it was a popular title that kids collected through the mid-60s. The cover is orange and gold, very distinctive. Here is the physical check that matters most for this one. Look at the staples and then immediately look at the interior page that sits directly behind the cover. On an unrestored copy, that page will show a faint shadow or impression left by the staple over decades. If the staple area looks suspiciously clean and the hole is too perfect, the staple may have been replaced, which is a form of restoration. A well-read mid-grade copy runs from around $800 to $1,500. A better preserved example goes higher, and condition jumps in value very sharply once you get into the nicer grades. If you thought that one was surprising, the next two are where the numbers start to feel genuinely hard to believe. Number 3. Showcase number 4 from October of 1956, published by DC Comics. This is the first Silver Age appearance of The Flash, and it marks the beginning of what collectors consider the modern comic book era. Most people who have this do not know what they have because it looks like a fairly plain science fiction cover from the 1950s and does not announce its own importance. Here is how you identify it. The cover shows the Flash running against a blue background. The price is 10 cents. And the DC logo at the top is the early rounded style used before the company standardized its branding in the early 60s. A low-grade reading copy of this one is worth around $2,000. A mid-grade copy can reach $8,000 to $12,000. This is another one where, if you truly believe you have it, the right move before anything else is professional assessment, not a home sale, and not a quick listing online. Number 2. Detective Comics, number 27, from May of 1939. This is the first appearance of Batman, and it is one of the rarest and most valuable comic books ever produced. I am including it because copies do surface occasionally, found in family estates and storage units and old trunks that nobody had opened in decades. If you think you have found something from this era, here is what to check right now. The cover price is 10 cents. The DC Bullet logo at the top left is the very early pre-war style. The paper will be extremely brittle and brown at the edges, the natural result of 80+ years of aging, and you will not be able to flex it without risk of damage. The title text on the cover is in a very specific serif font that later printings and reprints do not quite replicate. Even a severely worn, heavily damaged copy of the genuine article is worth tens of thousands of dollars. A better preserved copy is worth hundreds of thousands, and graded high-grade examples have sold at major auctions for over $1 million. Please do not do anything with this one at home if you believe you have found it. Contact a professional grading service or a reputable auction house that specializes in original comic material. This is not one to rush. And now, number 1. Action Comics number 1 from June of 1938. The first appearance of Superman. The first superhero comic in the modern sense. And the reason it ends at number 1 on this list is not just the money, though the money is extraordinary. It is because this is the book that almost every family had the chance to encounter. Not because everyone owned it, but because it was sold on newsstands everywhere in America in the summer of 1938. At a time when newsprint publications moved through homes the way anything cheap and plentiful does. People kept them in basements, in closets, in the backs of drawers, in farmhouses and row houses and apartments that have been in families for nearly 90 years. The cover is unmistakable. Superman lifting a green car, a terrified man in a dark suit. The price is 10 cents. The Action Comics logo across the top in clean red text. If you are holding something that looks even close to this, the paper will be in extremely advanced state of aging. It will be delicate. It should not be unfolded, flattened, or cleaned. A low-grade copy with significant damage is documented at over $100,000 at auction. Graded high-grade copies have sold for over $3 million. There is no number in this video that comes close to touching it, and there is also no other item that turns up more dramatically in estate discoveries than this one, even decades later. If there is any chance you have found one in a family collection, stop, put it flat in something protective, and reach out to a professional immediately. You have made it through all 10, which means you now know exactly what to look for and exactly how to check. The books on this list are not mythical. They exist. They are in homes right now, in boxes that have not been opened since the 1980s or longer. Take a few minutes tonight to go through whatever you have. Check the cover prices. Check the staples. Check the spine. You might be closer than you think. If you want more of these, hit subscribe to the channel and you will not miss what comes next. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Did you have comic books growing up, and do you still have them? Tell me what you remember having and whether you ever went back to look. I read every single one. Take a closer look. Own. You might be sitting on more than you think.